Mia Jones and the Beautiful Bunny. Once upon a time there was a brave girl called Mia Jones. She was on the way to see her sister Olivia Jones when she decided to take a shortcut through the Amazon rainforest. It wasn't long before Mia got lost. She looked around, but all she could see were trees. Nervously, she felt into her bag for her favorite toy, Mr. Piggy. But Mr. Piggy was nowhere to be found. Mia began to panic. She felt sure she had packed Mr. Piggy. To make matters worse, she was starting to feel hungry. Unexpectedly, she saw a beautiful bunny dressed in a purple tiara disappearing into the trees. "How odd!" thought Mia. For the want of anything better to do, she decided to follow the peculiarly dressed bunny. Perhaps it could tell her the way out of the forest. Eventually, Mia reached a clearing. In the clearing were two houses, one made from strawberries and one made from pizzas. Mia could feel her tummy rumbling. Looking at the houses did nothing to ease her hunger. "Hello," she called. "Is anybody there?" Nobody replied. Mia looked at the roof of the closest house and wondered if it would be rude to eat somebody else's chimney. Obviously, it would be impolite to eat a whole house, but perhaps it would be considered acceptable to nibble the odd fixture or lick the odd fitting in a time of need. A cackle broke through the air, giving Mia a fright. A witch jumped into the space in front of the houses. She was carrying a cage. In the cage was Mr. Piggy. "Mr. Piggy!" shouted Mia. She turned to the witch. "That's my toy!" The witch just shrugged. "Give me Mr. Piggy back!" cried Mia. "Not on your Nelly!" said the witch. "And let's let Mr. Piggy out of the cage." Before she could reply, the beautiful bunny in the purple tiara rushed in front of the footpath on the other side of the clearing. "Hello, Big Bunny," said the witch. "Good morning." The bunny noticed Mr. Piggy. "Who is this?" "That's Mr. Piggy," explained the witch. "Oh, Mr. Piggy would look lovely in my house. Give it to me," demanded the bunny. The witch shook her head. "Mr. Piggy is staying with me." Excuse me," Mia interrupted. "Mr. Piggy lives with me and not in a cage." Big Bunny ignored her. "Is there nothing you'll try?" he asked the witch. The witch thought for a moment, then said, "I do like to be entertained. I release him to anybody who can eat a whole front door." Big Bunny looked at the house made from pizzas, and said, "No problem, I could eat an entire house made from pizzas if I want to." "There is no need to show off," said the witch. "Just eat one front door and I will let her Mr. Piggy." Mia watched, feeling very worried. She didn't want the witch to give Mr. Piggy to Big Bunny. She didn't think Mr. Piggy would like living with a beautiful bunny away from her house and all her other toys. Big Bunny put on his bib and withdrew a knife and a fork from his pocket. "I'll eat this whole house," said Big Bunny. "Just you watch." Big Bunny pulled off a corner of the front door of the house made from pizzas. He gulped it down, smiling, and went back for more, and more, and more. Eventually, Big Bunny started to get bigger, just a little bit bigger at first. But after a few more forkfuls of pizzas, he grew to the size of a large snowball, and he was every bit as round. I don't feel too good," said the Big Bunny. Suddenly he started to roll. He'd grown so round that he could no longer balance. "Help!" he cried, as he rolled off down a slope into the forest. Big Bunny never finished eating the front door made from pizzas, and Mr. Piggy remained trapped in the witch's cage. "That's it," said the witch. "I win. I get to keep my Mr. Piggy." "Not so fast," said Mia. "There is still one front door to go. The front door of the house made from strawberries, and I haven't had a turn yet." I don't have to give you a turn," laughed the witch. "My game, my rules." The woodcutter's voice carried through the forest. "I think you should give her a chance. It's only fair." "Fine," said the witch. "But you saw what happened to the bunny. She won't last long." "I'll be right back," said Mia. "What?" said the witch. "What is your sense of impatience? I thought you wanted Mr. Piggy back." Mia ignored the witch and gathered a hefty pile of sticks. She came back to the clearing and started a small campfire. Carefully, she broke off a piece of the door of the house made from strawberries and toasted it over the fire. Once it had cooked and cooled just a little, she took a bite. She quickly devoured the whole piece. Mia sat down on a nearby log. "You failed!" cackled the witch. "You were supposed to eat the whole door." "I haven't finished," explained Mia. "I'm just waiting for my food to go down." When Mia's food had digested, she broke off another piece of door made from strawberries. Once more, she toasted her food over the fire and waited for it to cool just a little. She ate it at a leisure pace, then waited for it to digest. Eventually, after several sittings, Mia was down to the final piece of the door made from strawberries. Carefully, she toasted it and allowed it to cool just a little. She finished her final course. Mia had eaten the entire front door of the house made from strawberries. The witch stamped her foot angrily. "You must have tricked me," she said. "I don't reward cheating." "I don't think so," said a voice. It was the woodcutter. He walked back into the clearing carrying his axe. "This little girl won't fair and square. Now hand over Mr. Piggy, or I will chop your broomstick in half." The witch looked horrified. She grabbed her broomstick and placed it behind her. Then, huffing, she opened the door of the cage. Mia hurried over and grabbed Mr. Piggy, checking that her favorite toy was all right. Fortunately, Mr. Piggy was unharmed. Mia thanked the woodcutter, grabbed a quick souvenir, and hurried on to meet Olivia. It was starting to get dark. When Mia got to Olivia's house, her sister threw her arms around her. "I was so worried," cried Olivia. "You are very late." As Mia described her day, she could tell that Olivia didn't believe her, so she grabbed a napkin from her pocket. "What's that?" asked Olivia. Mia unwrapped a doorknob made from pizzas. "Pull in," she said. Olivia almost fell off her chair. The end.